What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Luke Innes here. I've got another horror movie review for you today, and we're going back to 1981, I believe, for this one, with a zombie movie, but not as you know it, in the form of Dead and Buried. So the movie was directed by Gary A. Sherman, based off of a screenplay written by Ronald Shusett and possibly Dan O'Bannon. There is some controversy as to whether or not he was involved in this film. The movie stars James Farentino and Jack Albertson, and also features an early appearance from Robert Englund. Essentially, a local sheriff in the coastal village of Potter's Bluff begins to notice some very strange things going on. A string of tourists are killed and soon reappear in the village as members of the local community. He enlists the help of the local mortician, undertaker, in order to help him out, try to figure out what's going on, all the while dealing with his difficult relationship with his wife and the realisation that more and more people are suddenly reanimating. Now, I know that my description of the plot is pretty vague, but that's because a lot of this movie, I don't want to give too much of it away, but basically the kind of formula that it follows in terms of its kind of set pieces is that the locals will surround and kill an outsider, and then they will become one of them, so to speak. This movie's really interesting, and I'm not going to give away the ending because that would defy the purpose of doing this review, because this is one of those kind of Twilight Zone-esque type movies where it's all about the ending. It's the big twist ending that is the key thing in this film. And I've got to say, actually, although when I've seen this movie twice now, the first time I saw it blew me away, the twist, honestly. Second time seeing it, I know it's coming. Obviously, I'm prepared for it. I'm aware of what's coming. I know that I'm not going to get that same feeling again that I got the first time I saw the twist. But it did give me the opportunity to see that actually, from a cinematic point of view, it's not executed that well. The sort of finale is kind of, and by finale I mean like the last couple of shots of the movie, are quite clunkily delivered, where they deliver this final surprise, final twist in the plot. So it's got to be said, I mean, the film's gore is only sort of incidental. There's a couple of scenes with eyes and other stuff. There's one scene where a guy gets like acid spilt on his face. Most of it comes in the form of the stuff with the undertaker preparing bodies for their deliverance, you know. And it's definitely really interesting and effective special effects being used here. They're by Stan Winston, so you know, with a name like that attached to it, you can expect quality. You know, he's very much up there with Tom Savini in terms of his kind of effects being brilliant. I think the thing that I really love about Dead and Buried is that it kind of takes elements from things that I like across the board. It's got that kind of mystery, thriller, horror, sci-fi element of something like the Twilight Zone, with a massive dose of kind of violence and bloodshed. Like I say, the bloodshed is mostly incidental, but it's far more than you'd ever get in an episode of the Twilight Zone. It really brings those two things together well, but unfortunately I think that was kind of the reason this movie didn't really catch on in its own time. It wasn't a particular success because it's far too plot driven to kind of go into the kind of schlock category that a lot of these, you know, the sort of junk heap movies that gorehounds were looking for at the time. And it's also far too visceral for people who are generally looking for plot but not gore. It's kind of, it walks a thin line, which is unfortunate because I feel like this is a movie that a lot of people would enjoy regardless of their persuasion, whichever side of the horror spectrum they fall on. The movie does generally have a really creepy atmosphere, I've got to say. This you know, this little idyllic coastal town where everything is perfect, but something is a little bit weird about it. It's really, really cool. It's got that kind of Stepford Wives kind of everyone is slightly strange thing going on. And as the plot unfolds, it gradually becomes obvious as to why that is. I really hope I'm not giving too much away, because like I said, this is one of those movies that is best enjoyed going in relatively blind to what the movie contains. So I mean, that's why I've kept my summary and stuff pretty brief. Like I say, I guess if I had to sort of sum it up, I'd say if you're not necessarily a big horror fan, but you love a good mystery and a good thriller, this one's definitely something that I think you'd be interested in. If you're interested in a little bit of gore, then yeah, as well. You know, like I say, this movie has quite a diverse appeal. This is the kind of thing that I think proves that horror isn't, even when horror has a lot of kind of gore in it, it's not necessarily just the gore that makes it exciting and fun. Despite a couple of drawbacks, I've got to say that Dead and Buried is a really fun experience. It's a little bit slow at times, and the ending kind of, although it was very effective the first time I saw it, on repeat viewings I've realised that it's not as well kind of constructed as it could be. So for those reasons, I'm going to give Dead and Buried an 8 out of 10. Yeah, this one gets thumbs up and a recommendation for you ladies and gentlemen watching. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Luke Innes. If you look in the description box down below, you will find the link to my podcast. It's called Ironcast. It's all about music in its various forms. Also, why not like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I'd really appreciate that. This channel is going very well. In about 4 months, I'd say, I should be hitting 200 if I keep going at the current rate. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen.